Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2023 film Five Nights at Freddy's. This film stars Josh Hutcherson and was directed by Emma Tammy. Now, disclaimer real quick, I know that this film was kind of meant for teenagers. I think that if I was somewhere between the ages of like 12 and 17 and not in my 30s, I probably would have really liked it. That doesn't really excuse some of the lazy writing. But regardless, I think that it is probably a good film for teenagers. So with this review, keep in mind that I am in my 30s and I kind of expect a little bit more from a film story-wise. If you like any kind of content about film and culture, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, so this film is based off of the video game Five Nights at Freddy's. I've also never played the video game, so we'll take that into consideration. But I also want to keep in mind that that's okay if I haven't played the video game. I still feel like this should be able to stand alone as its own property, and I don't feel like it really did. So the first mistake was this film is about Josh Hutcherson's character. He loses his job as a mall security guard because his brother got abducted when he was young, and he sees an older guy at the mall. He's kind of like taking a younger kid, and he thinks that he's taking the kid, so he tackles the dude and like beats the living tar out of him, and he loses his job. And they kind of play it off like, he has trauma from when he saw his brother get abducted, but the dude was being like mildly suspicious and didn't like run from him, so he didn't really pose much of a threat, and it was just like a little ridiculous. So he gets the job at this Freddy's place because he needs a job because he lost his job. So the whole movie kind of shouldn't have really needed to take place in the first place. And I was like, alright, I'm just going to let that slide. And I wasn't going to mention it if the movie ended up being better because, it's just one little mistake. But there ended up being just a bunch of things that I thought were wrong with it. So that was mistake number one. Alright, so real quick. Just watching this next clip, I'm not going to edit too much of it because I want you to see the look on my face as I try to describe the plot of this movie. Like, what is it with these films? They just don't make any sense anymore. It's stupid. So, alright, just watch. So like I said, his character is hired by this guy who obviously owns Freddy's place or something. So the guy that hires him is really vague, and the job explanation is really vague, and it's all just really vague, and it's supposed to be creepy, but it's so vague that you just don't know who this guy is, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what role he plays, but you know it's kind of creepy, so he's going to be back later, but it isn't really explained, and it's obviously not legitimate, so I'm over here trying to explain it, and none of it makes any sense, so I pause right around this point, and then I realize that I'm just not going to be able to really explain it. And he's hired to like be a kind of a caretaker of the property, kind of like in The Shining, but he doesn't live there, and he's basically meant to like keep people out. That's what the guy tells him that hires him. And so what happens is a couple people break into the property, and it's shown that the animatronics are like live, they're like real, and they kill a couple intruders, and a cop ends up finding out that the place was broken into, but it's like, wait, why is he there if these people broke into the place? Like, he's supposed to be there so people don't break in, and there's people breaking in, and it just didn't make any sense at all. Another thing is the lady cop, like, people died, and they spend a bunch of time cleaning up the place, and, they even clean up a little bit of blood, and it's like, the lady's a cop. Like, she should have shut the scene down. She should have shut this Freddy's place down. It should have been an investigation, but somehow that just kind of slips by him, I guess. Doesn't really matter. And I know I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief with this kind of stuff, but this is the kind of stuff in these films that just gets to me. Like, one of the intruders gets decapitated. Like, there would have been blood just everywhere. I thought it was just kind of dumb. Like I mentioned as well, the lady cop character, I just don't understand why she's there, like, all the time with him. Like, I don't understand why she's not out on other calls or anything. And I get that she has a connection to the place, a childhood connection, and you don't find out until later what the full connection is. but it's just like, why is she there? I didn't understand it at all. So the main character had his little brother kidnapped when he was younger, and he keeps like revisiting the dream. There's some kind of plot about this dream that he keeps on going to, and like he's relying on like dreams and memory to try to solve his brother's kidnapping, and it didn't make any kind of sense at all, and it was all convoluted. Like dreams and memory are super unreliable, and none of that just made any sense at all. Another thing from Post, this movie was really convoluted and was not possible to get in one go. So when I was watching the film, when the lady cop finally reveals everything, that she knows everything, that she's the daughter of the owner, I stopped the movie and I was like, nope, and I set my tripod up and I recorded this clip. Okay, no, stop. Just stop the movie. Alright, this is so stupid. So, this lady cop, like, knew about this entire thing, about this bad man that, you know, like, takes the kids and puts their bodies in the animatronics or whatever, and she totally sat by while there was, like, a little kid in Freddy's or whatever, and she was like, I tried to warn you in my own way, I really did. Like, dude, you didn't do anything. Like, you're a cop. Like, you should... Like, no. This is so stupid. Like, there's no excuse for any of this. This should have never happened. And I wrote down in my notes at the beginning, when he got fired from the mall, I wrote mistake 1. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna be like really nice and okay, and I'm gonna let that one slide. But, like, this is all just totally wrong. This movie is just stupid. I don't like this. Swing and a miss. This is the kind of lazy, inconsistent stuff that I totally expected from a film like this. You know, it's made by Blumhouse, which, I'm not gonna lie, in my honest opinion, don't really set the standard super high for horror or really great storytelling, in my opinion. Seems like they're about quick jump scares, and that's what most of this film was. My hopes were up, you know, for like a creepy animatronic movie. I think that that's something that we can all agree, you know, animatronics are inherently kind of creepy. And so my hopes were fairly high. You know, I saw that it was Blumhouse and Josh Hutcherson and PG-13, and so, you know, I figured that it wasn't going to be great. But the concept, you know, as it is, I think definitely has potential, and I think that it's a bummer that they took this and just kind of plopped it out, and I didn't really feel like there was much passion for it. It felt like it was made for teenagers, which is fine. I know there's a huge market for teenagers and stuff. If I was maybe 14 or 15, I probably would have loved it. By the end of the film, literally my only thought was, well, did he end up getting another job? And that's what I was left with after watching the movie. So if that shows anything, this movie was not very interesting. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense. There were some cheap, quick jump scares, and not really a whole lot else. In conclusion, what I'm getting at is I know that I'm taking this way too seriously, but the thing is, all of this stuff that was left really vague works totally fine for the video game. I think the video games look really cool, but it didn't work for a film because a film is supposed to have a nice established narrative for something like this anyways. So it works for the video game, not for a movie. That's what I thought of the 2023 Five Nights at Freddy's film. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the like button, and if you like any kind of content about film and culture, to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.